Rachel, congratulations. You two looked fabulous. I'm glad you had a successful wedding. Yes, it was wonderful, wasn't it? We did a great job of decorating the venue ourselves. I'm happy the guests liked it too. You guys decorated the venue yourselves? That way, we can keep the costs down. We tried doing as much as we could. Rachel, I gave you $40,000 for your wedding. That should have been more than enough to cover the wedding fee. So why did you have to do things yourselves to save money? Right after you got engaged, you guys came to me begging in tears, saying you nor your parents had enough money for a wedding ceremony. You also said you wanted it to be as extravagant as possible, since it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I had no choice but to help you out with a fortune. So how come that wasn't enough? You know, prices are skyrocketing nowadays, so it cost more than we expected. Today's wedding was nice, but to be honest, I didn't think it was a $40,000 ceremony. The food was average, and the wines were clearly cheap. Tell me the truth. Where the hell did all my money go? That has nothing to do with you. You gave that money to us as a gift. It became our money, so I have no obligation to tell you how we used it. It's absurd for you to pry into our money. What? It was such a nice wedding today, but you ruined my good mood, Avery. This is why I hate mother-in-laws. They always try to lecture their daughter-in-laws, thinking they become our bosses or something. What do you mean by that? Even though I gave you guys that money and it became yours, that money was for the wedding expenses. If there was any chance it was used for something else, of course I would ask questions. Shut up. Just stop contacting me. Talking to you makes me feel sick. Bye. You always run away from my questions. Next day. Hi, Avery. Why are you texting me, Rachel? I thought talking to me makes you sick. I feel better now after a night's sleep. Anyways, I have something new to discuss with you. Is now a good time for you? I have a bad feeling about this. Can you just cut to the chase? Actually, we're thinking of living at your house. So can we move in this weekend? What? Here? Why would you want to move into your mother-in-law's house? Now that the wedding is over, it's time to think about buying a house, right? Last night, John and I talked about how we can purchase a house, but we realized it'd be difficult in our financial state. In the end, we came to the conclusion that we should have your house instead of purchasing one. Do you mean you guys want to live with me? No way! I don't want to live together with my mother-in-law when we're still newlyweds. We want to live in that house with just the two of us. So, could you move out of that house ASAP? What? Your husband passed away years ago, so you live in that huge house all alone. But don't you think it's a waste? You have extra unused rooms, right? It's true that I have many unused rooms, but you can't just tell me to give it to you and kick me out. Living together would just be stressful for both of us. Our ways of thinking are so different. We'll never be able to live together in peace, don't you think? In any case, this house will eventually be passed on to the eldest son, John. So, why should it be a problem if you give it to him now? You're not the one to decide on the inheritance. But that's what usually happens, right? Your daughter, Christina, is already married and has moved out. Then, it's natural for John to inherit this house. There's no problem for us to live there a bit earlier than planned. You guys only think about yourselves. What about me who's gonna get kicked out? Where shall I go? If I'm going to give you this house, you're gonna prepare somewhere for me to live, right? That's none of my business. Why don't you rent a small apartment for seniors? You guys are gonna pay the rent then? That's the least you can do. Huh? You should handle that on your own. You still have your husband's inheritance, right? Or you could move into your daughter Christina's house. You have no intention of supporting me with anything? Even though you're trying to kick me out of my own house? Then there's no merit for me to give up this house. I can't accept such nonsense. You have to accept this. We've already canceled our lease on the apartment we're living in. We're packing up our stuff so that we can move out this weekend. I've already made arrangements to rent a truck. What? So please move out. But if you say it's impossible, I guess I have no choice but to let you live with us. But in that case, you'll have to pay the rent. Pay you guys the rent? That's crazy. Once we move in, that house will become ours. John is the eldest son, so he has every right to inherit that house. If you're going to live with us, you have to at least pay the rent to show some gratitude. Not all young people allow their in-laws to live with them, you know. How arrogant are you? And how much are you setting the rent at, by the way? Well, let's see. I don't want to live with you, so considering the inconvenience fee, how about $2,000 a month? $2,000 a month to just live in your own house? If you pay $2,000 a month, I'll let you live with us. If you have a problem with that, please move out ASAP. I'll go live with my daughter and her husband. Well then, goodbye. If you're going to move out, please do so by the end of this week. Please give my regards to Christina. Immediately following. Christina, I'm sorry to ask you this on such short notice, but could you let me stay at your place for a while? I've decided to move out of this house. What's going on all of a sudden? I got a call from Rachel just now. Now that they're newlyweds, they want to buy a house. But since they don't have the money, she asked me to hand over the family home to them. They thought the eldest son would eventually inherit it, so it wouldn't be a problem handing it over a bit early. What? And you decided to hand it over? Just for the time being. I've had enough of their selfishness. So for now, I'm going to pretend like I'm giving it to them. And in the meantime, I'm going to prepare to cut ties with them. Cut ties with them? I don't want to see Rachel or John, who is letting her do as she pleases. So I'm sorry, but would you let me stay at your place for a while? Out of anger, I couldn't help but bluster out that I'll go to your place. I'd be happy if you could let me stay until your husband comes back from the business trip. Of course. I was feeling rather lonely without my husband around, so I'd be glad to have you here. I'm sure my husband will be okay with it. Thank you. I'll move out as soon as I'm done with all the arrangements. There's no need to rush. Let's work together to get it done ASAP. If you're going to cut ties with him, I will too. You too? To be honest, I've always hated John. He always exaggerates the fact that he's the eldest son, saying how he's better at things than me. And his wife, Rachel. She has a similar personality to him. In fact, she was making fun of me behind my back. Oh, really? Right after she married John, she called me out to have a chat. She said, with my husband being the heir, we will be in charge of this family from now on. We shall decide everything, including how to share the inheritance. She said such things without my approval? That couple thinks that the eldest son holds some kind of power, but I'm fed up with them. I want to take this opportunity to cut them off, so let me help you. In that case, you and I shall work together. All right. Well, I'll pack up my stuff and be on my way. 1 week later. Hey, Avery. I didn't know your house was this old. It's much more inconvenient than I thought. Don't complain after taking it away from me. You two couldn't afford to buy your own house, so that's why you decided to live in my house by kicking me out. You're so mean. If you decided to give this place to us, you should have cleaned it up beforehand. In that case, we'll renovate it ourselves. So Avery, please transfer the renovation money to our account. $100K. Huh? Just after you ask for the wedding expenses? Next, you ask for the renovation fee. And I can't believe you're asking $100K again. It's all because this house is too old. Even though we live here, we haven't officially inherited it yet. Since it's in your name, you, the owner of the house, should pay. You're just going to keep quibbling over it. Besides, even if I give you money for the renovation, I don't trust you to use it all for the house. Stop that griping and just transfer the money. If you do so, I might allow you to come visit us once. Huh? I hate having strangers in my house. That's why I have no intention of inviting you over. But if you're going to pay for the remodeling, that's a different story. You can come visit us just once. Don't tell me you thought I'd offer you money for that. If you don't give us money, you may never see your son and his wife again. Your husband has passed away, and your daughter is now married. We, your son and his wife, are the only ones left who can look after you. You'll end up living a lonely retired life if you refuse to pay. That's fine with me. I was going to cut ties with you two anyways. You guys shall never get any money from me again. I never want to see your face ever again. What? And also, did you know that you aren't allowed to renovate a rental property without permission? It's common sense, you know. I can't believe my son married a woman who didn't even know that. Rental property? Well then, take care. Please, give my regards to my son John. Wait a minute. What do you mean by rental property? You built this house, right? You should be the owner. If you give us permission, there would be no problem. That was until a week ago. Now, that house belongs to my daughter, Christina. I was renting the house from her until you kicked me out. When in the world did you give it to Christina? We never heard anything about it. I gave you $100K for the wedding. But actually, it was my gift to you guys before my death. In other words, it was my inheritance. I wanted to give Christina the same amount, but it was hard to give her cash. So instead, I gave her this house. That was your inheritance? Christina and her husband had been planning to buy a new house, but her husband went away on a long-term business trip, so they couldn't make time to search for houses. That's why I decided to give them this house. They can renovate it to their liking, or if they want to buy another house, they can just rent it out or sell it to make some money. Oh no! I always thought this house was too big to live alone. Therefore, I was going to use this as an opportunity to rent an apartment. When I told Christina about this, she said, "You can stay there until my husband comes back and we move in." That's how I lived there free of rent. But now that the resident has changed, she said she'd stop the rent-free service. She wants $2,000 per month from you. Why won't she rent it us for free too? We're family. I'm her sister-in-law. She dislikes you. What? I heard from Christina how arrogant you were in front of her. There's no way she would let you live there rent-free. But $2,000 per month is too expensive. This house is old. A similar house can be rented for about $1,700. It may be expensive compared to the market, but the owner of the house has the right to decide the rent. You've got to be kidding me. Then why don't you, her mother, do something about it? Your son and his wife are about to get ripped off by your daughter. Do something to protect us. As usual, it's always about you. This is why I hate daughter-in-laws. They're so selfish and arrogant that I can't communicate with them. Huh? Don't depend on your mother-in-law, whom you despise so much. If you have a problem with the rent, get out. If you want to stay, pay $2,000 a month. That's the only choice you guys have. Immediately following.
Mom, why won't you take our side? I can't believe you gave up this house to Christina without asking me. Even though I'm Christina's brother, she's charging us a monthly rent of $2,000. This is absurd.
Your wife charged me the same amount as rent in exchange for living with you guys in the house I used to live in. Didn't you think that was absurd?
That's different. You two may be family now, but you used to be strangers just until a few weeks ago. It can be exhausting to live with in-laws, so I don't think it was wrong of her to charge you a rent.
Then, it's not strange for Christina to charge you guys a rent either. Even if Rachel became her sister-in-law now, they were strangers until recently.
What the hell? Why aren't you taking our side? And I heard you're trying to cut ties with us.
Yes, that's right. You were blustering around saying that you're the eldest son and heir to the family. We're no special family, so I don't understand why you thought the eldest son had power over the family. Even though I disliked your attitude, I still helped you guys pay for the wedding. Now that I've fulfilled my parental duty, I shall no more support you in any way. I'll cut ties with you, so you two can go on with your lives as you please.
You'll later regret that. If you cut us off, you won't be able to rely on us when you get old and need care.
I refuse any care from my idiot son and his wife. I'd rather pay a fortune and hire a pro to take care of me. Not every parent wants their children to take care of them, you know. I'm gonna live in a luxury retirement community and use up all the money I have.
No!
Don't ever contact me again. I don't want to see you or your hideous wife ever. The next day. Because of you, we have to move out of this house. So you should pay for the moving and the new house. Demanding money again. Don't you get tired of begging for money? What's wrong with asking for money? You know what? This is all your son's fault for not making enough money. Parents are supposed to cover for their children's mistakes. That's why I asked you for the wedding money and the house. Why are you making me the bad one? Excuse me? If John's income was enough, I wouldn't have had to ask you. But after he quit his job, he can't seem to get any decent jobs. That's why we are always in need of money. So what's wrong with asking you, my mother-in-law, for some financial support? Now I see why you were so rude to me. You're blaming me for your own poverty. Stop blaming me for your own financial troubles. Is it a parent's responsibility to cover for their children's mistakes? Don't make me laugh. That's only until they graduate high school. What? If you want to blame someone, blame yourself. You're the one who chose to marry a man who makes only little money. You went out with my son because you liked him. Don't blame me for your own mistakes. You have poor judgment when it comes to men, I guess. You don't have to be so mean. I just asked for some money. Why can't you just suggest that we live together? Huh? I heard that you already moved out of Christina's house. You rented an apartment somewhere, right? Then why don't you let us live there too? Your son and his wife are in trouble. I don't care whether you cut ties with us or not. I'll accept living together, so you should let us move in. Then, you'd better pay me $2,000 per month as rent. What? Even though you're my daughter-in-law, we don't see each other as family, right? It'd sure be tiring to live together, so it's only natural for me to charge you, just like you charged me. No. That's too expensive. It's just an apartment. If you are going to complain about it, do something yourself. If you can't afford it, you can't stay at my place. Go live in a park or under a bridge. Oh no. Don't expect me to help you after you kicked me out. Well, good luck with your newlywed life. When times are tough, remember the gorgeous wedding you had. As long as you have good memories, you'll be able to carry on. After that, my son and his wife rented a cheap apartment and are living a modest life. I later found out that they had spent most of the wedding money I gave them for casino games. They ended up having debts of tens of thousands of dollars. I am truly ashamed of having such a son and daughter-in-law. They are now desperately trying to figure out where I am by begging Christina. But Christina answered, I think your debt collectors have taken Mom somewhere. It's your fault you lost Mom. Thanks to Christina's great act, I am living a quiet and peaceful retirement in my new home. Thank you for watching to the end. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. Otherwise, please let us know what you think in the comment section below. Please subscribe to our channel. Your ratings and comments will help us in the future. We also have many other inspirational videos. Please take a look at the videos on our channel. See you in the next video.